Hallo und willkommen to the Hochenheim Arena for the second round of the TH Jordan RTA GT4 Cup, in association, of course, with TH Jordan and indeed the Sim Consultants right here on Gantry TV. Yes, it is 9 o'clock. It is Tuesday evening, and that means that a lot of very quick drivers will be virtually driving around a track near you or not so near you in a GT4 car, battling it out to see who will ultimately become the latest RTA champion. My name's Kevin Garvin. Alongside me is, as ever, Evan Dalton, meine Funde und deine Freunde. And indeed, we have Ronan Hedeman, a Vocha, very hard and very earnestly in the background to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Und why am I speaking German? Well, I can tell you, my friends, we're at the site of the former German Grand Prix, site of a regular DTM entry, GT World Challenge Europe, International GT Open. We've got FIA GT here before. We had World Sports Car Championship here before. And a rather iconic track, Evan, to kick off our second week.
Yeah, it is. It's an iconic racing circuit in world motorsport. Pleasure to be here, Kevin, alongside you. We had enough trouble with me in languages this week, so Kevin decided to completely throw me off altogether. But it's the Hochenheim Ring, situated in the Rhine Valley near the town of Hochenheim. It is a fabulous racing circuit, a little bit longer than Brands Hatch, maybe just as technical, and hopefully it provides a good race here this evening.
Yeah, 4.5 kilometers, and it's Christ. It's our good Lord Christ we can thank for that. Not Jesus Christ, but Ernst Christ or Ernst Christ, the man who felt that his hometown of Hockenheim was deserving of a track way back in 1931. So in between two minor enough incidents for the Germans, but we won't go there tonight. We're looking at practice. We had a really interesting race last week, or three races, should I say, last week. But I suppose, Evan, like a lot of incidents, it was certainly plenty for the stewards to look at. But ultimately, Alex Denning, the man who will be racing here and in other European circuits in his real life GT4 car, ultimately coming out on top after the first week.
Yeah, it was a great week for Alex Denning. He took the wins in heat number 1 and in heat number 2. Couldn't quite do it in heat number 3, but nonetheless, it was a very impressive performance for him last week in Brands Hatch. We had a super close action, I think, across all 3 races. It was certainly boding us in nicely this week. It should be a good one. A lot of big names to look at as well. Ronan Doherty, last season champion, returns for this evening. He wasn't, of course, present in Brands Hatch, but he is here this evening. Jordan Kelly is looking to put his name up the top of the order as well, as you can see. Currently quick in practice, but can he do it in the race as well? Only time will tell.
Yeah, only time will tell indeed. Hopefully, a bit more restraint today. A very wide track is Hockenheim, of course, an FIA A-rated track. So we would expect to see plenty of opportunities for overtaking. As we say, the stewards had a very busy time last week. That's all been sorted out now, and hopefully the law has been laid down as we head into the new week. And of course, a week which really is an exciting one for iRacers around the world, with the Sebring 12 Hours, the first iRacing special event that is happening with rain in it. Both myself and Ronan will be competing for wildfire racing at the weekend, and I can tell you, rain is extremely tricky. Like in a prototype, you touch the brakes and you lock up. So we're all going to have to really be in our best behaviour. We're dry here tonight in the Hockenheim Ring, thankfully, but I do wonder whether we might see that over the course of the week. Jordan Kelly, of course, in taking the win in the final race, he certainly is a very high candidate for this season. He will be one to put a huge amount of pressure under Alex Denning.
He will absolutely. Jordan has vast amounts of racing experience, both in real life, in RTA, of course. He's a multiple-time RTA champion. He is a man with a lot of experience and a man looking to prove a lot. We saw a bit of an old rivalry rejuvenate last week with Jordan Kelly. Be interesting to see does that return for this week. But he's got fierce competition and he wants to prove that he's the best here in RTA, but he's going to have to work hard for that here this evening. There's a lot of quick drivers based off last night's practice, based off tonight's practice just before the race. It's going to be a good one, Kevin.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at those point standings as we head into qualifying here, and then we'll take you through what we have for the rest of the week. So, this is the B Championship. Of course, we run an A and a B Championship. What's the overall B Championship? Sorry, the overall championship full stop. I see Alex Denning's name there in P3. So, Dave Maguire leading things after P1. Rob Moore in P2. He had a lovely battle with Alex. Who actually, despite his wins, seems to have incurred some penalties over the week, which we weren't entirely sure about. But he starts in the championship in P3. Then we have Peter McCann in P4, Dylan McClements in P5, Conor Melia, Jordan Kelly, Pori O'Shea, Adam Dowling, and Alexander Milchen rounding things off in the A Championship. And if you do want to check on those point standings, you can head to the RTA's brand spanking new website. That's rtavirtualmotorsport.com. They have a huge amount on the website now, very much thanks to Enda Farrell, who put a massive amount of work in to make sure that we have points, we have updated championships, we have incidents, everything that you need to find on the series will be found on rtavirtualmotorsport.com. And do remember as well, they have announced a new endurance series with Pro-Am teams. So that will be a really fun one as we head into the summer. So, Evan, heading back into qualifying, 15 minutes. We obviously saw Alex Denning taking P1 very, very late on. These GT4 cars, they're lightweight, they're quite big and quite cumbersome, but fuel does have a massive impact on them. So expect really to see the last of the late runners finish the top of the timetables.
Yes, and especially with his Hochenheim ring, lap times are a little bit longer maybe than Brands Hatch, so expect to see not as many laps in the 15 minutes, but yeah, once the track ramps up, once the fuel level gets fairly low, we'll see the quickest times come in. And of course, if you watch any sort of motorsport, you'll be used to that. You know, the later in qualifying, the times get better as the drivers get quicker and everything around them works in their favour. But 15-minute qualifying here, very crucial to get a good lap on the board early, very crucial then to get your quickest lap on board very late. It is a little bit of a balancing act, but important nonetheless. And Alex Denning was good at that last week. We'll wait and see if he can produce the goods late on again.
Yeah, it is Alex's. Well, I suppose look, Alex showed the pace, but certainly was involved in plenty of incidents, and that's why he maybe doesn't necessarily see himself topping the championship as of yet. But certainly a man who we expect to see in and around the front of the grid for the rest of the race. Let's have a look at what we're going to provide for you, as we always do this evening. We have three fantastic races. We're looking at qualifying now. So as you can see, it's an open qualifying session. 3 minutes on the clock thus far of 15. We will come back to that very shortly. But once qualifying finishes, that then sets the grid for Heat 1. That's a 10-minute race in Heat 1. And then we move on to the second race. So the grid in race 1 the grid in race 2 is set by the results in race 1, should I say, 15 minutes. And then the top 8 in race 2 get swapped. Everyone else stays where they are. And we go again for 20 minutes for race 3. All 3 races, maximum 30 points on offer. So you can potentially win 90 points. Drive-through penalties at 15. It's a very wide track here at Hochenheim. I really would hope that nobody should touch those over the course of a race that length. Disqualification at 20x. If you're really getting that, I definitely think you'll be going into the stewards. I was going to say stewards chamber. That sounds a lot more sinister than it needs to be. The stewards room. But yeah, Hochenheim, very, very wide circuit, Evan. Plenty of very heavy braking points. So good opportunities to overtake here. And what we're hoping to see, plenty of side-by-side battle.
Yeah, we're hoping to see some good racing here. Obviously, the stewards have laid down the law from last week where there was a few incidents, maybe just over the line a little bit. They've laid down the law, and we should be in for some good racing here this evening. A lot of overtaking opportunities at Hochenheim, especially in these cars. Of course, the turn 6 hairpin, a big one. Maybe even turn 2 as well, if you're feeling a little bit brave on the brakes. The Mercedes left-hander past the Mercedes grandstand of turn number 8 is another one. And I've even seen people dive down the inside in towards turn number 12 as well. So there's plenty of overtaking opportunities here this evening. But we have a massive grid as well this evening. So they're going to have to get creative. They're going to have to get adventurous and try to pass at the best possible times, but as early as possible. I think this first race could be fairly chaotic, and then they'll get into the swing of things as usual. But it is Alex Denning who leads Robert Moore and Peter McCann so far in the top three in qualifying. The top five separated by just over, I should say, 3.5 tenths of a second. So it is very close for the time being.
Very, very close. One man who hasn't set a time yet is one Jordan Kelly, but we'll hope to have a look at him taking us around the lap here at Hochenheim as we head towards the end of the qualifying session here. 5 minutes on the clock thus far, but thanks as ever to Jordan for providing coverage of how you get around here. This is not Hochenheim, this is very much Brands Hatch, which Jordan showed exactly what he could do in race 3 last week, but I know that Jordan has been practicing hard, not quite Hans Moffat hard, but certainly has been putting in the lap times.
Mollet.
And Hans Moffat, oh my God, Moffat. What? I think Declan Moffat from Glenamady came ahead there for a second. Anyway, we're back on track. Here is a lap of the Hochenheim ring with Jordan Kelly. Turn 1. This is a right-hand kick. Should be taken flat out with a little bit of a lift, but you can lose up to 5 seconds here as this wide, long run right down to the Einfahrt Parabolica. This is turn 4 technically on the trap. Easy to overshoot. 5th down to turn 4, 3rd as you exit that, and another wide straight now going down into the Parabolica, which is where the old track meets the new track, and down to Spitzke. This is turn 6, a great hairpin here. You want to stick right on the left, very, very, very tight. So you want to really use as much as you can in the engine, stress as much as you can, and then right, really, if you want to get an overtake here, you want to be down the inside, but you can get a switch pack done if your opponent does get too defensive. Now, if you can't get the move done at the hairpin, the next braking zone is a great opportunity. You're flat out through here. This is a really awkward curve as well, but this turn 7, really slower, wide left-hander gives a great chance to dive up the inside. And even if you can't get it done then, you can still try and make a move on the outside here of turn 9. Turn 9 is a 90-degree up here. 4th gear, really, really fast. Need to get in as much as you can there at the curb and use as much of the outside curb as you possibly can as you head into turn 10. Very much a tricky curve here, but you do have to use as much of the inside as you possibly can as you make the run down to the final 2 corners. It's effectively really a double apex. You go wide on the outside and then come back around on the inside here. There is gravel of the exit, which you have to be very careful not to run on, because you could lose a huge amount of time as you cross the line there. So really, turn 1 is a major corner, trying not to lose speed there. Turns 15 and 16. You have the hairpin at turn 4 and also turn 8. So some real kind of, I suppose, what would you say, headline corners on this track. The Sachs curve, that sweeping left-hander, the Mobile 1 curve, which is that really fast right-hander. You have to be so committed midway through the track. So very high aero on this this track, Evan. And with these GT4 cars, again, it'll really push the drivers to their limits as to how brave they can actually get on those runoff areas.
Yeah, a couple of the drivers were maybe struggling midweek with some practice. A couple are saying maybe the setup doesn't really suit the track, but I think it's a great track. I think it's really good in these cars. I think it's really good just in a global motorsport scale. I do miss it in Formula 1, and I think there's many who would join me on that opinion, but it's a fabulous circuit, 4.5 kilometers. It gives us 1 minute 45 lap times thereabouts. It's one of the longer ones that will go to this season, I think. One of the more difficult ones as well, but it really does make for great racing, as we see Dave Maguire currently at the top of qualifying. Nope, that'll all change. Jordan Kelly goes to the pole, 1:45.520. Good lap there for Jordan, his first real proper one on the board, and it's gone quickest. That's never really something to complain about.
No, absolutely not. And you could see in that lap how committed he was. You saw how wide he was running on the curves, particularly here through the Mobile 1 curve. We'll see with the same with Alex Denning. He just, well, maybe not quite in that example, but you can run so wide onto the Astro there, and Alex just pulling out of that lap, making a little bit of a mistake. But it is an absolutely superb opportunity to make up some time on the outside of these curves if you're willing to really be as committed as possible. Evening to Kieran McGinley, our commentator in crime, or in motorsport. Some people would conflate the two sometimes, but they are not the same. Do remember, you can chat to us on YouTube. We do keep an eye on the comments, but the only way you can do that is to get onto YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you could hit the like button, I'm sounding like very much like an influencer now, but it's okay. I'll sell my soul for the sake of Gantry TV. Do give us a thumbs up. It just spreads it around to more people, so more people can see the racing, and we all know how good the racing here is at RTA. So why not spread it to the masses? Real interesting history to the circuit. As I mentioned before, we have Christ to thank for, Ernest Christ, of course. The original track was 12 kilometers long, and then in 1938 was shortened down. And that kind of layout, that famous layout, really, with the kind of chicane on either end of massively long straights, take you right into the forests here at Hochenheim. And back around. That kind of lasted all the way up until around 2001. Of course, the track very badly damaged during the Second World War through tank usage. They repaired and was renamed to what it's now known as the Hochenheim Ring. In 1965, a new A6, the new Autobahn, separated the village from the main part of the track, so a new version of the circuit was built with that stadium section you see, designed by John Hugenholtz, which is the same man who designed Suzuka. So if you see some similarities, then do not fear. That is why. This, of course, is unfortunately the final days or final day of Jim Clark, the famous motor racing driver. He was killed on the 7th of April 1968 in a Formula 2 racing accident. That then saw the two chicanes added. Of course, it was just a flat, straight run up to that point. But in the way that we saw with many other tracks, including Le Mans, the chicanes were added for safety, and then we had that variant going all the way up. In the mid 1980s, the Formula 1s were restricted, of course, for the turbo powers because just simply down to fuel. It's Alan Prost. Alan Prost was one of those who ended up eventually failing to finish due to the fact that the car would just simply run out of fuel. The track was so long and there was so much expected on it. It ran out of fuel. Herman Tilke ended up designing the new track ahead of the 2002 Grand Prix. Very controversial, I suppose, when it came out first, Evan. A lot of people weren't happy with this new layout of it, and still to this day, an awful lot of people kind of pine for the old Hockenheim ring, just for the uniqueness of it, really, more than anything else.
Yeah, people love to stay associated with history. We see that a little bit in Formula One as well nowadays, where people like some of the older tracks, and I can understand why a classic circuit such as Hockenheim, but I think maybe for modern day motorsport, the shorter variation might be a tad little bit better. John Hugenholtz, of course, who you mentioned, did design Suzuka, Dutch racetrack designer. I believe he has a corner named after him in Zandvoort as well, I want to say, or at least I want to guess. Could be wrong in that regard, but very famous track engineers. We see Roland Doherty jump up to 5th place. Big shout out to Kieran McGinley as well, who is watching, who became a resident Irishman on Sunday. He was showing us some fabulous photos of his house draped in the tricolour from left to right, which bodes us the question, could he play county? Well, you'll find out in a few weeks' time on Gantry TV, but minute or 2 minutes ago here in qualifying, Kevin, it's still swapping and changing at the front here. I don't think this one is decided just yet.
No, more certainly not. And the other man who's commented this evening does have experience, maybe not of county, but certainly of Junior B. Great to have Hans Malik join us in the chat here on YouTube. So looking forward to having your company. Kieran says, me as a commentator is definitely a crime. You are correct. Well, look, it's certainly something that you can't be booked for. So just keep your head down, say nothing. But it was lovely to see Kieran's partner making sure that their house was decorated properly. I'm sure that it was she made sure that he knew that Ireland had a big win in the rugby at the weekend after the disappointment of last weekend, but we shan't dwell on that. As you say, Kieran, what am I talking about? As I say, Evan is in my mind. I know that's I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Less than a minute left, and a lot of these guys won't get an opportunity to cross the line. We'll just see whether Jordan is already past his time, so it's too late for him. I think Jordan will do enough here. I don't think Dave Maguire or even the likes of Alex Denning are going to have another crack at the lap there. There's Dave Maguire in the pits in the BWT livery. So I don't think Alex Denning is going to have enough time to finish the lap here. So he might just get blocked out, and we might see the number 5 car start as he did the last time we went racing in Heat 3 at the front of the grid.
Yes, and Jordan, maybe not typically known for being as strong in Heat 1. He didn't win a single Heat 1 race last season in the Ray Racing machines. He'd love to break that curse, maybe win one here in the GT4 Championship. Alex Denning, nope, no go there for his final lap. So it will be Mr. Jordan Kelly who'll start on pole position for the first heat here this evening. He'll be joined by Dave McGuire alongside him. Then it's Robert Moore and Dylan McClemens. Dylan once again showing just how strong he can be, maybe under 1 lap pace. Let's see though, can he maybe continue that strong pace into the race? Then it's Ronan Doherty ahead of Alex Denning. Then it's Sean McGoldrick, Sean McClemens, Rory O'Shea in 9, continuing his strong form. Peter McCann then in 10th with Jason Smith in 11th. Then it is one of the newcomers, Ryan Ware, is in 12th position. But Kevin, overall, that's a very close qualifying. It bodes nicely for a good race here.
Yeah, super close. Let's just hope we can keep it clean in turn one. I always think the first turn here at Hochenheim, particularly with a rolling start that we will have, it's very, very open to two going into one and that not working out. So we'll have to see how it goes. Great knowledge, by the way, from you, Evan, on Hugenholtz corner. The Hugenholtz Bucht has been part of Zandvoort since the opening track in 1948. But for extra special bonus points, can you tell me which corner in Zandvoort is the Hugenholtz Bucht?
Is it turn 3, uphill right-hander?
The bowl, yes, indeed, turn 3,
Yeah.
the big bowl on the left hand side, where I think Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon came together when they were Alpine teammates, if memory serves me correctly, a few years ago. Yes, that is indeed Hugenholtz Bucht. So the very man that corner is named after designed this very stadium section. So great knowledge from you, Evan. I expect to see it kept up now for the rest of the race. I'm waiting for you to drop random facts now about the Hocken. Normally, I'd have a German speaker in the form of Jack Hanan next to me, so I'd be asking him to give us some German insights. But I'm hoping that you'll come up with at least some motor racing insights, even if you. I don't know how much experience do you have with the country of Germany, Evan. I'm putting you on the spot now a little bit, but sure.
I've been in 2 German airports, but I've never actually been in the country, if that means anything. There's a random fact. We're also not going to get into languages again, if that's okay with you, Kevin. But we will be led away here. Now I have a reputation to keep up. I've kind of used my
Yeah, you have
background.
to be googling away. So Jordan Kelly leading Dave McGuire, Dylan McClemens, a great qualifying from him. We didn't say that earlier. Obviously, a bit disappointing from him, caught up in an incident in, I think it was Heat 2, if I'm correct in saying, in the opening corner paddock Hill Bend, which was just a bit of a racing incident, but ended up with him kind of being out of the running. Lovely mix of liveries, the Castrol livery, the BWT of Jordan Kelly there, and that fantastic VRA delivery sponsored by the Sim Consultants, and it looks like Jordan's going to lead us over the line very quickly. That was a shorter run than I thought. Evan, take it away.
Yes, we are racing for the first race here in Hockenheim. Jordan Kelly gets us away really, really quickly. Kind of went straight out of the final corner and leads us into turn number 1. All seems fairly clean here from those at the top of the order, but down towards turn number 2 is where the first real overtaking opportunity does arise itself. Alex Denning trying to go for the outside here on Robert Moore in that Castrol livery, and you can see Ronan Doherty just a little bit of a slide out of the exit, but nothing major in his regard. Now it's the very long straight where the slipstream will be at its maximum here in this opening lap because of how close they are. This is Alex Denning looking to try go up the inside, braking for the first real heavy braking zone of the circuit. Turn number 6, you can see it's Dave McGuire going to try tread it up the inside. No go there, but Alex Denning will stay ahead of Robert Moore, sorry, I should say, who he's got ahead now. You can see Sean McClemens as well in 7th. Bit of move there, I believe. Jason Smith and Peter McCann as well with a bit of a battle, but despite the large field, it seems all fairly clean in the top 20, with a few drivers having some struggles a little bit further back.
Yeah, line and stern, they were, particularly Dave McGuire and Dylan McClemens, they were bumper to bumper going through that hairpin. Good work from Alex Denning. I think Rob Moore kind of knew he was a sitting duck really from the minute Alex pulled out and was going to go down the inside. Rob just knew he was going to make that move and left him by as they go line and stern. Of course, Jason Smith, his namesake, having a very successful week this week, the Irish Paralympic sprinter, in winning Dancing with the Stars. So let's hope that the number 40 car could enjoy the same success on track, as his namesake enjoyed on the dance floor in the RT studios during the week. But I digress. Anyway, Rob Moore here, keeping off the challenges of Ronan Doherty, who's surprisingly in 6th position. Ronan very, very, very quick in the Formula Ford 1600s. As we said, he's last year's champion. But obviously, getting back in, didn't race last week, is kind of down on practice time. So for this week, really, it's kind of a chance for him to get kind of familiar with the car, back with racing, because GT4s is not something that I would say these guys race a huge amount on the surface as it is, as Alexander Milchin going for a move down the inside of Adam Dowling, but Dowling is going to stick it down the inside. That's good work there from the Mondello Park regular, Adam Dowling, making sure the move sticks.
Yeah, and very good point there in Ronan Doherty getting used to GT4 machinery. It's not something he may not drive in the service. It's certainly something he doesn't drive in real life. Of course, single-seaters is his forte. Formula V rookie champion last season, won the Emerson Fittipaldi Trophy, as well as that's Conor Melia. Speaking of Formula V's, a man who's going to throw an attempt at it, try become a dab hand in a Formula V for this season. He runs wide of the hairpin. He's now battling with Brian McManus in towards the right-hander. McManus looking to try and get ahead, but Melia in that Martini-sponsored car will keep ahead of McManus. Yes, he will. And that is big battling here in the mid-pack. It's very bunched up for the time being, and I imagine it will stay like that for the remaining 7 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very, very it's going to be very much a case of nip and tuck, really, between all these drivers. As you see, Conor Melia putting the pressure on John McDonald, who is racing tonight. Great to see John back in the seat. A comment in from Kieran saying, "What is the German for buggety, buggety, buggety?" That now I will have to who check, but I'd love to know where that even came from. Like, what in somebody's mind thinks that like, here are cars racing. Buggety, but like buggety, buggety, buggety is something you'd say at like a kid's disco. You know what I mean?
It was
like,
Dale Earnhardt, wasn't it, in NASCAR?
No, I know it was NASCAR. I know what the reference is, but I'd love to know where he got it from originally. What in his brain made him decide to think that buggety, buggety, buggety was what? I mean, it's iconic. Like, it's now iconic, but I'd just love to know, like, what made him. Where did that come from? I'm sure there's an origin story to it. If I Googled it, I'd probably find it. But I always just found that was a really unusual thing to just pluck out of midair, Oh, it looked like that could have had an incident there. Somebody running into the back of somebody else. But that actually, I think it all ended up fairly well. Alex Denning, the only one in the pack flashing his lights. That's interesting to see. Nobody else trying the old flashing lights tactic. And certainly it's not really working on Dylan McClements, is it?
No, not really. It's a tactic that's typically frowned upon at Le Mans. I'm not sure about other racing series. But Alex Denning just trying to maybe just unsettle Dylan McClements in front. But McClements doing an excellent job, I have to say. Credit where credit's due. He's driving well in 3rd place after a very strong qualifying. But Jordan Gelly, once again at the front, it seems like once he gets in front, he can control a race. He's not quite controlling it just yet. Not necessarily the biggest lead he's ever had in an RTA race, but it is comfortable around this Hochenheim ring, circuit ahead of Dave Maguire. But yeah, it's Kelly, Maguire, McClements, Denning, Moore, then Ronan Doherty, then the other McClements brother of Sean, then Sean McGoldrick, Jason Smith, and Peter McCann down in 10th place. It's still fairly clear as it seems like Jason Smith has got to attack Sean McGoldrick. He'll be hoping for no pirouettes like his namesake on the dance floor here this evening. Wasn't really the greatest of weeks for him.
That was a solid reference. Sorry, I thought you were saying that. Well, I thought you were going to finish the sentence by saying that wasn't the greatest reference, but I actually thought it was very appropriate. But you were actually talking about something.
That was fantastic.
Super work.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. That's what happens when you randomly stumble upon Dancing at the Stars on your TV from Sunday to Sunday. But Jason Smith battling for 8th position with Sean McGoldrick.
You're just stumbling across it every Sunday? Or is it just some Sundays you stumble?
Really care, Kevin. But
I
have dabbled in it from time to time.
Just when you said from Sunday to Sunday, it sounds more like a regular thing that I think you're giving credit for. But maybe that's a Pandora's box you need to open up at some other point. Rob Moore in 5th position, keeping an eye on Alex Denning. Still very, very close here as we head into the 6 minutes. Still the lights are flashing. Still Dylan McClements ignores him. I have to say, I find flashing lights really annoying. Not because when I'm driving they put me off, or like I just think it's just kind of unnecessarily rude. when you're racing against people. It's like if you're fast enough, then you should be able to overtake somebody without having to flash your lights every 2 seconds. I mean,
The only time you should be flashing your lights is if you're driving the opposite way past a queue of traffic and there's a speed camera van you've just driven past. That's the only time to let.
so,
I don't think there's any speed camera vans this evening.
allegedly, yeah. Evan
Oh yeah, I
providing
did not
some.
say that sentence. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, we do not condone that on
No,
Gantry
no,
TV.
absolutely not.
Just to be
That's
very, very clear. But
shenanigans
if you
do
were
not
to do
warrant
it, if you were to do it in true O.J. Simpson style, if you were to do it, this is how it should be done. Yeah, no, I just the whole thing it's like, you know, I don't know. I feel like flashlights are appropriate when you're when you're a faster class and you're announcing your intentions. I'm making a move here. I know I'm a back a bit, but I'm gonna send it. Get out of my way. But like when you're in similar machinery, I find the whole flashing thing really annoying. And actually, it looks like Rob Moore is going to get past him, and he's going to be joined by Ronan Doherty. So Alex perhaps flashing too much in Germany and finding that he's back a few places. Now let's see if Rob can hold off Ronan. I think he will as we head into turn 6. A very, very tight hairpin here. When you drive it, it's even tighter than you think it is, if that makes sense. You kind of go into it expecting it to be a certain, like the corner to exit to be somewhere, and then you find it's a good 3 or 4 yards to your right, as that's not the greatest move in the world by Conor Elliott. And then I think John McDonald kind of worsened things by driving into the barrier afterwards instead of waiting for an appropriate opportunity to reverse. But anyway, that was an interesting one. A very slow incident. I feel like Conor Elliott was trying to pull out of it, but he kind of didn't really make a move one way or the other, and he ended up just kind of going into the side of him. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like
not the best of corners really for Conor Elliott. That's the second incident in the first race he's had through that section of the track. He's not going to want to remember that one too well. But John McDonald as well down the order now after hitting the barrier after that little bit of a spin. But we're already heading on to the final lap of the race here, Kevin. It's been a fairly quick one. It does look like it's a traditional Jordan Kelly lead from the front fashion. He's got a 1.5 second lead, but here comes Alex Denning fighting side by side with Sean McGoldrick. Get off the circuit they go. Denning into the wall as well as Sean McGoldrick. 2 into 1 does not go. Kevin said it before the race, and Denning and McGoldrick have found it out the hard way.
Yeah, would love to see that again. We had, to be fair, but just to prelude this, the racing in the first heat has been so much cleaner than we've seen recently. So kudos to all the drivers for that. But Alex, then let's have a look at here. Denning goes across. It's hard. It's a very difficult one. Both of them have the right to the corner, but it's hard to see how Sean McClemens can avoid contact there without kind of yeeting himself off the track. So it'll be interesting to see what the stewards have to make of that. Oh, sorry, Sean McGoldrick, not Sean McClemens, was involved in that. Very hard to see how Sean McGoldrick was to avoid that, but then they both were side by side. So I don't know. What did you make, Evan? Is it a racing incident or?
I'm really unsure, to be honest. I'm not actually sure whether Denning's car hit the inside of the curb or something that forced him to go off, but it's a really weird one. That'll be looked at by the stewards, I should say, after the race. I couldn't call that one really. I couldn't make heads or tails of it, but final lap of the race now. Jordan Kelly is going to be able to bring it home in the race lead. Very interesting battle here between Lawrence de Soswa and Peter McCann. Great race from Lawrence this one. He's been a big beneficiary of the incidents throughout the field, but here comes Jordan Kelly. Ready for the final corner. The Heat 1 and no-win streak is broken. He's won the first heat of the evening here at the Hochenheim ring. Dave McGuire comes home in second. That's his 4th second place of the season in 4 races for Dave McGuire. Consistency paying off. And a great podium for Dylan McClements in the 3rd. Hats off to Dylan. He held off the pressure and the flashing LEDs of Alex Denning's GT4 behind. And he's held firm to take home 3rd.
Yeah, as we said, his namesake having a good week. Jason Smith having a very good opening race. He's up 5 places to 6th. Ryan Ware, a great race for him, and Lawrence de Soswa, both of them starting 12th and 13th and finishing 8th and 9th. So brilliant stuff from the two of them. Peter McCann finishing where he began. And other good movers and shakers, Rob Parks, our league, our great glorious leader, up 15 places to finish 19th. That's a great result from him. And the Farrell, obviously bookending his superb week on the website, up 10 places to 23rd. So yeah, some really, really good finishes there. Bad races, however, though, for Jamal Gondor, he finished last place, down 22. Alex Denning, of course, we saw in that instant. Wing Fei Chan and Evan Walsh all down quite considerably. But yeah, a good, clean, for the very majority of the time, opening race. Superb work from Jordan Kelly to lead from the finish, but really from all of them, Kelly, Maguire, McClements, Rob Moore, all starting in the top four and all finishing in the top four.
Yeah, I believe there was a bit of an incident between Wingfei and Jamal. That's why they both finished down the field. But that is a Shadow GT4 for Alex Denning. Very very disappointing for those guys who are having a solid race to end up in the gravel and the barriers. But Heat 2 should be very interesting, Kevin, because we kind of got a nice little taste of there. I think a little bit more side-by-side action we'd have the perfect race. Great performance from Lawrence in 9th, good as well from Peter, and solid from Rory in 11th position. A few newcomers as well up the order. Great to see Ryan Ware in 8th position. And great to see Mohammed Osba in 16th. He signed up today to RTA, and he's already performing on the racetrack. It's what we love to see. But I'm very much looking forward to Heat 2 now.
Yeah, really good Heat 2, and superb work again from Ronan in the back with that replay of the two. That's kind of a perfect angle to see it from, and it did look like Alex maybe was spat aside a little bit from the curb, but very hard to tell again. As you have a look at the classified or the provisional results, at least, of Heat 1. As we get ready, Evan, to go for the second time round here, of course, rolling start, but a shortened rolling start this time round. No full lap that we saw in Brands Hatch, so we should expect to see them go early. Alex Denning, that's going to be a massive hit to his championship ambitions, though, because really with the format, with the 3 races and the previous races all affecting the ones that come after it, you really need to get a good start. And if you get a bad start in the first race, like Alex is starting now from P36, that's going to be a very difficult position to try and make up places in.
Yeah, given how big a grid we have as well, he's not been doing any favours. Oh, what's this? That's collisions on the formation or the run to the line. Alex Denning's now up to 26th position, so he's gained a handful of places there. Not too sure what's really gone on. Seems like a bit of trouble with the timing tower, but we're rounding through the final corner. Jordan Kelly will lead us away from the start-finish line, I should say, as we go racing around the Hochenheim ring. It'll be Maguire putting on the early pressure on Jordan Kelly with a side-by-side. This is Jason Smith trying to run it around the outside of Robert Moore and Dylan McClements in towards turn number 2. They're almost free abreast, breaking for the first real braking zone on the circuit. Dave Maguire has just pipped ahead of Jordan Kelly. He's taken the race lead, but Jordan with a lovely execution of the classic up and under there side by side on the back straight here, Kevin.
Yeah, really good work from Dave Maguire. Has gotten shot out of the blocks and really putting Jordan Kelly under pressure. Those 3 obviously were the finishing 3 and really kind of ran the race early on. Let's look at that battling between Ronan Doherty in the background and Rob Moore. Jordan is going to hold the inside line. He's going to push. He didn't push it directly. It was a big accident there. That's the number 40 car involved. That's Jason Smith. And also involved in that looks like the 21 of Rob. Sorry, not Rob Parks. Oh, we're big issues here now. That is not where you want to see an accident. Very unfortunate place. Jason Smith was ultimately the one turned around. I think I saw not Ronan Doherty, but Rob Moore involved in that as well in the Castro livery. He is indeed down in 22nd place now, so a bit of a disaster. 10 cars in total were being told involved in that instance, so an absolutely enormous one. Certainly one to be looked at by the stewards, but unfortunately that is the nature of very, very tight turns on opening lap. If there is an accident, everyone tends to pile into the same area, and we've seen the same at Long Beach, where there's very likely if somebody spins out or gets hit on exit, then it kind of causes that traffic jam. And unfortunately, that's what's caused there. And you can see now, Dylan, the gap between Dylan and Sean McClements is enormous. Then you go to a second down to Ronan Doherty, then between Ryan and Ware and Rory O'Shea. So the rest of the pack really way back now from the three you see on screen. They're almost like a Tour de France breakaway group with the peloton trying to chase in the background because they are way out in the lead and just hoping to keep the pace so that the others don't catch up with them.
Yeah, I think one of the cars got stuck on the apex of turn number 6, and then no one else could get through. I'm not sure what car exactly it was, but yeah, it was a bit of a car park briefly. It was almost like the M50 at rush hour, but battle for the top 3 continues. These guys are in their own little world here. It's Maguire, Kelly and McClements. Then it's Sean McClements behind these 3. As you can just see, Dylan McClements get right close to the bumper of Jordan Kelly's Aston Martin in front. As I wouldn't necessarily count out any of these guys for the race. I think they're all well within their own rights to take this one, but you'd like to fancy Jordan Kelly to go back to back here. But as we said before the race has started, he's going to have to work hard for his wins. He's certainly going to have to work hard to get past Dave Maguire, who is a very experienced driver.
Yeah, really experienced, and like there's a lot of very just super experience really in that first 2, and then you have the kind of the youthfulness and the young talent coming through in Dylan McClements. So really interesting to see. Dylan, as we've talked about before, really impressed by as Alex Denning goes for a move down the inside and he's siding through now. Is Alex Denning? He's up to P23 and hoping to make the most of the 11 and a half minutes left, but really impressed by Dylan McClements. Just his whole character, his whole demeanor seems very relaxed. He seems very kind of collected and calm, and doesn't get overly upset or annoyed. You hear him on the replays and really shows us a real maturity, well beyond his years, which I know is a cliche thing to say, but it is absolutely true. As we look at that, look at the swerving and weaving, and then Rob Moore goes wide, and I think Rob is the instigator in all of that. Rob and Ronan were swerving all over the place, and then Rob Moore goes right into the side of Jason Smith, and not to be overly critical, but one thing that really annoys me is when drivers cause an accident and then they don't let the other driver get out. So Rob was almost like spinning his wheels whilst also still lodged in Jason Smith, having hit Jason Smith and spun him out. It's like the least you could do is let the guy you hit go ahead of you before you follow him behind. Anyway, I digress. Just one of those turn 1 instant or lap 1 instance, really, isn't it? Just very hard battling, and unfortunately, Evan, that can happen from time to time. Guys lose their way, go deep into a corner, and it's kind of carnage after that.
Yeah, a lot of the field unfortunately just drove straight into the scene of the accident, and yeah, that's what we are left with. But it'll be looked at by the officials after the race, and I'm sure if there is any penalties to be handed out, they will be handed out. Stewart's team do a great job. And remember, you can check all the penalties and the points after every race on RTA Motorsport.com. As 5 minutes into the 15 here in the second race of the evening. It's still a 3-horse race at the front, as we see Sean McGoldrick and Peter McCann running side by side for the final corner, the Sud curve, and then in towards turn number 1. No move there just yet for Peter McCann, but he's putting the pressure on. That incident, however, has really benefited Lawrence de Salzwa, who's up to 6th place, and it is looking like it's going to benefit Jordan Kelly as he's still trying to fight for the race lead, just can't quite pass the pink BWT sponsored car of Dave Maguire.
Yeah, Dave doing a superb job. Here's Jason Smith now in the comeback trail. He has Dan extended on the outside and contact, and Jason isn't really sure whether to come and go. Very clean opening race. Unfortunately, Jason involved in a couple of incidents, some of which you can't really put the blame on him for, but there you just wonder at what point do you take your foot off the accelerator and maybe not cause that accident. But again, it's a super group of stewards here, very fair, and I would say that not just as somebody who commentates on the series, but somebody who really has looked at the instance myself back past, and really isn't a single one where I would say I can't understand why the stewards make that call. Like, all of them are based kind of on what I'm seeing myself. So certainly I concur with all their decisions as a commentator, which is not necessarily always the case in every race series you see, F1. No, it's so you can expect to see them busy, but really they're always very fair. So they'll have the work cut out, Evan. Unfortunately, a little bit more in the second race, but super racing between the top three here, keeping each other very keen without overstepping the line.
Yeah, and very disappointing for Alex Denning as well, who, credit where credit's due, had done a phenomenal job to get back up to that position in the 7 minutes that we've had, but it's kind of one step forward, two steps back for him, unfortunately. Top three, though. It seems like we look at some brilliant battling here with the top three, we cut back to an incident behind, we jump back to these guys in the side-by-side again. It's a never-ending feud between Dave Maguire and Jordan Kelly, it seems, here, but it's all in good nature, it's all been clean, and it's what we love to watch. Here on Tuesday evenings, Kelly, is he able to get the run here on Dave Maguire? Maybe in towards the hairpin. He's tucked right into the slipstream. You can just see Dylan McClements right behind, maybe just biding his time, hoping for a bit of an incident between these top two. But Maguire taking the oh-so defensive line into the hairpin. Jordan Kelly now sticks it on the outside. He's going to try break earlier. Now McClements just going to sneak his nose in up the inside. Wow, what a manoeuvre from Dylan McClements. Pure bravery and opportunism to try and sneak past Jordan Kelly. They'll be too wide. No, Kelly just inches ahead for the time being, but still, Dylan McClements risking it all with a sneaky move up the inside. I think Jordan Kelly ideally wanted to try the switch back on Dave Maguire, but there was a Team DDR car planted on his inside before he could even think about doing it.
Yeah, superb work from all three. Dave holding off Jordan. Jordan doing a great job of trying, first of all, really Dylan McClements, last of the late breakers. That is definitely the carbon fiber brakes. These Aston Martin GT4 cars are being absolutely worked to their limits there. They pretty much did all they could to stop him in time, and he just about made it work. But great move then from Jordan Kelly to recognise that Dylan was on his inside, not try and fight too much and cause an incident, just make sure he pins down the throttle as much as he can, uses the opportunity to go wide so that he's not trying to cut back and keep the momentum. As we see somebody going off there, that's Simran? No, it's Stephen Donnelly going off there, just went straight on through that corner. Not entirely sure what happened there with Stephen, but that's a really tricky corner, that Mobile 1 curve. I really cannot understate, for somebody who hasn't driven this track before in these GT4 cars, how tricky some of these corners are. This turn one, particularly given how much speed you need to carry going down, you really need to nail it, and that Mobile 1 curve is really, really hard stuff. But look at this now. Kelly in behind Maguire once again. We saw Kelly try and do the up and under here. He's going to gain a bit more position. He's going to be forced to the outside. He's going to try and pin Dave Maguire in as much as he possibly can. Try and create that line for himself. You can see him going early on the brake, seeing if he can switch back around the inside of Dave Maguire. Less than an inch between the two bumpers as they pass by. But once again, both of them in two very different ways, making sure that they carry as much momentum as they can. That's a superb shot again here from Ronan Hederman, who's the man with the cameras. He's had a busy weekend of it as Ronan. He was over in Anglesey for the running. He ended up almost being capsized by the storms that happened last night, but was still here despite not feeling 100% up to the weather. Or a little bit under the weather, should I say, still here providing us some superb camera shots. So fair play to Ronan. You can check him out as well on the Sim Consultants. Don't forget about that. Jordan Kelly, and that now battle again, Revan, has allowed Dylan McClements to get back in there. And we've seen how brave Dylan has been. About 4.5 minutes on the clock. When do you roll the dice?
That was super defence from Dave Maguire. Kelly played the switch back perfectly, but Maguire just got brilliant traction out of the corner and was able to stay ahead. He's doing a stellar job to stay in front. As we said, he's got second 4 times so far this championship in the 4 races. He'd love to maybe take the win. This is Conor Melia and Rob Parks, who are battling. We've seen Melia all over the back of Rob Parks here, and he's looking to try and overtake. This is Sean McGoldrick getting past Lawrence de Soswa. It seems like the peloton is slowly catching the solo runners in the front, as of course we saw McGoldrick involved in that incident in the first race, just working his way back through, trying to get onto the reverse grid. This is what I mean! We cut back to the front 3 and they're going side by side again. Jordan Kelly now into the slipstream once again at the number 32 in front of him. Dylan McClements is just ignoring them both, and he's on his own merry way. They're now free abreast, braking for the hairpin. It's Maguire on the inside, Kelly on the outside. McClements just a couple car lengths behind, and it seems like Jordan Kelly, he's tried something different this time round. He's gone for the outside rather than the switchback on the inside, and that's worked a little bit better for him. But Maguire still on the outside, heading down towards the Mercedes arena. Kelly, does he break the later of the two? No, seems like Dave Maguire does. Maguire just going to try hanging around the outside. A little bit of a nudge between the two. Dylan McClements now trying to get involved in this one, and Dylan McClements sends it around the outside of Dave Maguire. Bit of a nudge once again, but this is truly fantastic, Kevin.
Oh, this is outstanding by these three. This is really, really good. Look at that, too wide through the Mobile 1 curve. Both of them making it stick. This is just absolutely astonishing as they still go wide, too wide now as that battle continues. Dave's going to go down the inside. I hope there is a contact here. No, good work from Dave to keep it clean. And then cuts back down the inside, sees that Dylan is going outside, and now Dylan off the track. He's got a 1x there, but he's still battling. These two have gone half a lap side by side. Eventually, Dave Maguire gets ahead of Dylan McClements, and now he has his older brother Sean to contend with. As those, oh no, that's contact. That's contact with Dylan McClements on the back of Dave Maguire. Oh, that's such a pity for Dylan. He was doing just a superb race from the 30. Is he 13 now? 14? I'm not sure. But I think he just went a little bit too deep there, hit the back of Dave Maguire, and ended up being turned around himself. Let's just have a look there. Was there contact? Yeah, it looked like there could have been, but it's hard to know. Look, very unfortunate for Dylan in the end, but he can be so proud of that effort with all three of them. That's the best racing we've seen in this series so far this year, but I suspect it won't be the last we'll see from the three of those guys.
Look, we might harp on about incidents and stuff like that, but that's what RTA can produce at the best of it. That was a classic battle. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from all three. Although Dylan McClements ended up spinning out in the end of it, still just, that is incredible racing from the young man. He's keeping up with two of the best racing drivers to have touched Mondello, maybe. There's many, just two prime examples of it. And he's showing why he might have a very strong future in Irish motorsport, does Dylan McClements. But incredible. But we got to keep moving forward because there's more fantastic battles around the field. This is Lawrence de Soswa against Peter McCann. This is the battle for 7th place. Rory O'Shea as well is in this one. Strong week for O'Shea last time out. Had a couple of strong results and is high up there in the championship. And he is looking to continue his strong form. And another man who might be a little bit better in karting maybe is Rory O'Shea. I found out a little something during the week. He is the chairperson of the Munster Technological University Karting Club. So there's a bit of a fun fact about Rory O'Shea. As currently in 6th, it does seem like he prefers these GT4 cars over what we had last season, however. But last lap of the race, Kevin, it seems like Jordan Kelly managed to get the legs on David Maguire finally, as he's just pulled over a second.
Yeah, Munster Technological University, of course, the people of Tralee IT will be glad that their name is no longer abbreviated. Now, I know it was changed to IT Tralee, so people couldn't say tits on the air, but look, it's MTU now. We're all one happy family. You'll never see Cork and Kerry people get on so well. But yeah, didn't know that. Very interesting. Peter McCann, right in the middle of the sandwich. Rory O'Shea got in ahead of Lawrence de Soswa, so we saw that there. They went too wide down the Mobile 1 curve. Lawrence ended up leaving him go past. We're back here again now for the final time in the second heat, as we expect to see Jordan Kelly cross the line very, very shortly. There's Dave Maguire. He gave an absolutely superb show of himself in this race. But once again, it is Jordan Kelly coming around the Mobile 1 curve. I got a little bit confused in my geography there. Here is Jordan coming around for the final time. Barring a disaster, the number 5 Team Dolan car will once again finish on top of the standings. But what a superb race from Jordan Kelly and David, as Jordan comes round for the final time. And now I can say Jordan Kelly once again going back-to-back here at the RTA GT4 Cup with TH Jordan. Jordan Kelly, number 5, crossing the line in first place for the second time this evening, followed by Dave Maguire, Ronan Doherty, Sean McClements, and then Sean McGoldrick, with Rory O'Shea finishing just ahead of Lawrence de Soswa and Peter McCann. And unfortunately, has big contact there. It's Evan Walsh getting caught up with Rob Parks. And both of those, obviously, guys know each other very well. Evan getting a slap on his doors just for a bit of luck, for a bit of good luck at the end. I think that was Simran Tacker, or was it Evan Farrell? I'm not sure. As you see Alex Denning in P20 crossing the line here. Disappointing one for Alex. Two great opportunities there, both ruined by incidents. Rob Moore behind him, Wing Fei Chan finishing in 30th. He had a good battling race, did Wing Fei Chan. But yeah, it really was once again the story of Jordan Kelly this evening. Started first, finished first. It was a little bit more difficult this time around, Evan, but he got the job done.
He did get the job done. It'll be a little bit more difficult next time round as well, but a fabulous job nonetheless. Maybe we get our first clean sweep of the season, because of course Jordan did take pole for the first race as well. We're just waiting for the final couple of cars to round the start-finish line. Of course, there'll be a big shake-up in the B standings as well after this race, because we saw that big incident, which felt like so long ago at this point on the opening lap of this race. But nonetheless, we'll have the full results coming up now. It's Jordan Kelly who takes the win ahead of David Maguire, Ronan Doherty. Then it is Sean McClements, Sean McGoldrick, Rory O'Shea. Then it is Lawrence de Sosma and Peter McCann in 8th place. That means it'll be Peter McCann who will start on the reverse grid pole. A fabulous day for porcelain manufacturers across the country. Ryan Ware in 9th ahead of Dylan McClements in 10th. Adam Dowling then in 11th with Alexander Milchan in 12th. Conor Melia in 13th. Then it was Stephen O'Keefe, Mohammed Osba, Enda Farrell, Simran Tacker and Rob Parks. Rob losing a couple of spots due to that incident at the end. A little bit further down then it was Alex Denning in 19th, John McDonald in 20th, Finlay Melvin in 21st, then Dermot Toomey in 22nd, Stephen Donnelly in 23rd with Tony Stack in 24th. Then it was Rob Moore, who we saw involved in that first lap incident ahead of Peter Duke, David Prunty, Simon Hutchings, Wing Fei Chan, Mark Ivory, Aaron Dalton, Evan Walsh, Dave Collier, Rich Murphy, Brian McManus, Philip Upson, Gary Corcoran, Jason Smith and Jamal Gandor. That seemed never ending for a second there, Kevin.
Yeah, nice one. We'll hope to speak to both Jordan and Ronan this evening. And any rumours that Peter McCann has signed for fellow Cavan tile company Budget Tiles following his acrimonious split with Earn Tiles, following once again unfounded allegations of social media use. Well, look, we can only say that they're rumors. We won't
It's
comment
like
any further on that.
Carlos Tevez from United to City.
It, it's very like that. They just picked him up in the airport, or in this case, Bosaurus. Look, we're hoping to speak to some of the drivers. I mean, stop our nonsense. First, I suppose it makes sense to have a chat with Jordan Kelly, having given the fact that he's won both of our races this evening. Evan, do you want to jump in there?
Yeah, can do. Jordan, fabulous performance from you here this evening. You're usually known for a great performance in Heat 3, but you've got the pace on the board pretty early here. I presume you're happy with pole in the first 2 wins of the night?
Yeah, even after that battle with David, it was a good battle for about 6 laps there. I was getting worried, like, it's just so hard to, like, pick a point to make a pass. David fast around the last 2 corners. Hard to. No, it was good to get the 2 wins. Thankful to have put it in pole, and it just makes that we.
I think it's fair to say that Jordan's internet isn't quite as good on Discord as it is in the race. It's fair to say we're kind of catching you in fits and starts, Jordan. But there you go. We're hearing you a
There
bit
he
better
is.
now.
it should be alright. It should be alright.
So let's not blame any more companies near the border areas, because we've already made a show of one tiling company, so we won't go there. Yeah. Sorry, Evan. You
No,
were
sorry,
saying.
I thought it was me breaking up there for a second,
No,
Kevin.
no.
So appreciate you jumping in. But Jordan, speaking of that battle, we saw a fabulous freeway fight between yourself, Dave, and Dylan. That has to be enjoyable as a racing driver. Surely it was fascinating to watch.
Oh yeah, just trying to make trying to make a message breaking point was kind of the tactic there, because it's just so hard to get down the inside and get alongside and stuff. So I just had to try something different then, and I braked a wee bit later and managed to get alongside coming out. So I was happy to get the move done, but hopefully more of them battles in the next race, because that was good.
And then one final quick one, race 3, you're starting from 8th. Do you think you can cut through the field and take the clean sweep?
Probably just try and get a few points, and not do anything too quick, because I think the points are going to matter the most in this championship. So hopefully we can keep that going.
Cheers, Jordan. Thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck for the third race.
Thank you.
Now, Kevin, I believe we are going to hear from Ronan Doherty, another man very strong in the second heat.
Yeah, Ronan obviously won the Formula Fords last time round. Couldn't make race 1 in Brands Hatch. So, how much time have you had to kind of get used to these GT4 cars? And I suppose second part of that question, do you run them very often outside RTA?
Not really, no. How much time? I had an hour before qualifying, so when I bought the car. Luckily GT4s aren't too hard to learn and drive and stuff, so I'm about on the page, maybe a tenth off, like, but I'm learning as I go through the races, like, and qualifying position is just so important because everyone's so similarly paced, and the tow isn't as strong as the Fords.
No, and Hochenheim as a circuit is a tricky one. Like that race start off the rolling start going into turn 1, it's I think it is kind of like the first maybe half a lap really is a case of survival in these things, isn't it? As opposed to trying to make up any real gains.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the first lap at the hairpin was a bit of a nightmare there in the second race. Someone just pushed my cousin Sean clean into the back. I mean, that sort of left us behind, trying to catch the leaders. But I got there in the end, but it was just too late.
One very quick final question. You spoke about Sean, his brother Dylan, younger brother Dylan,
Yeah, he's
really
flying.
impressed us in the second race. He's outstanding talent, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start putting on more practice. He's flying, so it's great to see. And he was unlucky there in that last race. I don't know what happened at turn 1, but I seen him going off, and that's why I'm on the podium and he's not.
Well, look, sometimes you have to, they have to wait their turn, and you know they'll get the opportunity later on. Ronan, well done. I'm going to leave you get back to it because we're going to get ready very shortly. You're starting from P6 in the final race.
Cheers.
So yeah, I was hoping to have a bit more time to ask Ronan about Dylan, just because he's so quick. But as I think he said it enough, like he's forcing now Ronan to up his game, and that's how I think everybody feels in the grid.
Yeah, when you see a young driver with such good pace like Dylan has, you kind of wonder what he's going to be like maybe in a year's time with another year's experience under his belt. But for now, Dylan, very quick. Very unfortunate in that one. Of course, he'll start a bit further down than he would have liked due to that incident. But no, very promising signs from Dylan McClements. And his brother Sean might not be too fond of his brother taking all the show. But Peter McCann will start at the front of this grid. For the final heat of the evening, it'll be Sean McGoldrick in second position. I believe we might have actually lost Lawrence de Solzwa, because I remember he was supposed to be up there, so he's not on the grid for the time being, or at least can't see him. But it'll be Rory O'Shea then in third, Ronan Doherty is in fourth, then it's Sean McClemens, Jordan Kelly, then it is David Maguire and Dylan McClemens. Seems like we're a little bit jumbled up, but nonetheless it is Peter McCann at the front of the grid, and that's the most important thing for him as we round through the final corner and we're racing for the final heat here at the Hochenheim ring. Great start from Peter, leads away nicely into the first corner as we see two wide between the two McClemens brothers here heading through turn number 1.
Yeah, great start there from everyone, including the two McClemens brothers. As we see going down the inside is Dylan. He's going to try and get the inside on Sean. Sean McGoldrick, speaking of Sean's, under serious pressure from Ronan Doherty, who slightly over-eggs the exit, maybe a little bit too trigger-happy on the loud pedal, which allows McGoldrick to get back past him. Rory O'Shea putting pressure on Doherty as well, as we have this train now of the Maguires and the McClemens. Maguire, or should I say Maguire and McClemens, and that's wide there from Dave Maguire. He swung right back around, and now Dylan's going to have to hold it down the inside of the hairpin, going very late in the brakes. We saw him do that as well in the battle. Very good on the brakes in that corner as Rory O'Shea goes wide. As is Dylan McClemens, and we have a spinner there in the background. That is Stephen O'Keefe in the 35 car. Not sure quite what happened there. Was there contact or not? But he spins around as Alex Denning's trying to make a move in the background here on Conor Melia. Conor struggling through the hairpin earlier on. He does get that move done, does Alex, so he's into P12. And really, for him, Evan, it's this, after what was a very poor night for him, this final race is absolutely imperative as we see a banging of doors between Dylan and Dave Maguire.
Yeah, Dave Maguire and Dylan continuing their fight. Maguire around the outside now. McClemens gives him a little bit of a nudge, but nothing Dave Maguire can't handle. He's now on the inside heading for the Sachs curve, and Dylan just runs a tad bit wide. That allowed Sean to swoop through as well, and Dave Maguire is up to 6th. Then it's Sean and Dylan 7th and 8th. But Peter McCann leads the first lap here ahead of Ronan Doherty and Sean McGoldrick. Then it is Jordan Kelly, Rory O'Shea, and of course this battle between Dave, Sean and Dylan. A little bit further down the field, Alex Denning slowly working his way up. He's now up to 11th side by side here with Adam Dowling, and yes, he is ahead of Dowling and Melia for the time being. So Alex Denning still looking to pick up some points here on what's been probably a poor evening by his standards.
Yeah, but certainly on the charge in 11th place and catching Alexander Milchin very, very quickly. There's a train of cars there as leading that is the man you see in front of you, Peter McCann. He's still in the lead after lap 1. He's going to be put under savage pressure here by Ronan Doherty, but he will have the inside in that brand spanking new GT4 livery. You can see our own little Gantry TV on the front and back. So lovely little shout there. You have the Sim Consultants on there. We, of course, let's not forget TH Jordan, whose sponsorship allows this all to happen. Thanks to them and their fantastic printmaking services. And you can get them in Belfast or indeed online by searching TH Jordan Printing Belfast. Here is Ronan Doherty. He's going to go down the inside here, however, and it looks like Peter McCann's going to hold him off as we head down through the Sachs curve and towards the Sud curve to finish the second lap. And Peter McCann doing a superb job representing Budget Tiles with quite some distinction.
Yes, he's representing us, the Gantry TV, as well, with a good bit of distinction, hanging around the outside of Ronan Doherty and Sean McGoldrick. Wow, this is bunched up, heading in towards the left-hander. You can see they're almost 2 by 2 as wide goes McCann, through goes Doherty. Ronan Doherty into the lead briefly. Peter McCann still on the inside, it seems, as he's looking to just try and keep this race lead for as long as humanly possible, but inevitably Ronan Doherty is able to get the run as Dave McGuire goes round. Dave McGuire in the background has gone round. The man who's finished second in every race this season is down outside the top 10. Did very well not to lose more time there or hit anyone else.
Yeah, the great work as well by Alex Denning to avoid him. Super crash avoidance work there from Alex Denning. It was involved in a few incidents earlier on, but looked like McGuire was turned around there. I'm not sure, was that the continuation of the battle with the McClements brothers? Did we see Sean McClements now spinning out? He might have had damage from that earlier incident. I'm not sure whether it was Sean or whether it was Dylan, because of course it was Dylan that was battling earlier on. This is the Sean McClements incident as he goes over the curve. And Sean's still running fairly well there as we head down towards... Oh, yeah, I can see what's going to happen here. Ooh. Yeah, that is from Alex Denning. And just having talked about Alex's superb crash avoidance, he then punts Sean off. Look, obviously the fault is on Alex there as the car behind, but you can see what Alex was trying to do. He couldn't make move working the inside. He tried to switch back to the outside. It's a mistake, but an honest one, and unfortunately Sean is the one who feels the effects of that one, so the stewards probably will have something to say on that, I should suspect. Here is Dylan McClements. He's still running 5th, is the young 13-year-old, having banged doors with David McGuire earlier on. McGuire with spinning now, with spin out should I say, is way down in 12th position, so a massive loss for him, and will it open the door for the likes of Ronan Doherty and Jordan Kelly running P2 now, all the way up from P8, may I add, to add to what could be a very impressive series lead by the time we get out of here, and on to Spa-Francorchamps next week.
Yeah, a week to forget, I think, for Alex Denning, as you see them involved in that incident, but great stuff from those at the front for now. It is Doherty, Kelly, McCann, McGoldrick, McClements in the top 5. Ryan Ware doing an excellent job in 6th position, as is Rory O'Shea here in 7th, ahead of Alexander Milchin in 8th position. The pink machines running in 8th and 9th. There's certainly the pink on the timing screen. A little bit further down, Dave McGuire now in 12th. And the Farrell is up to 13. Rob Parks in 15th as well, having a good race so far. And the battle still to continue, I should say, for well over half the race still to go. This is Alex Denning side by side with Alexander Milchin here in through the hairpin. Milchin has Denning's number sorted out there on the apex of the corner, but it looks like Denning might be able to get the run on the exit. No, not for now. Has to tuck back into the slipstream once again. Milchin's got to be careful with his moves. Here he is. He just commits to an outside line. Denning going to dive one down the inside in the pink and green Aston Martin, and Denning is ahead. Well executed move.
Yeah, really done. Well done by Alex Denning on the car. 84 being the number I also with. So Do I have some sort of, do I have anything in common with Alex? I'd say probably not. Certainly not in terms of his pace, but in terms of numbers, that's at least that. What number do you race with, Evan?
12.
12. And do you want to care to explain why?
No, because I don't really have a reason, to be honest. Just always have.
Fair enough. That's a
Cool.
fair enough reason.
It's cool. I've played
Um,
all with 12 as well. No reason.
who
Lead
was
this
hoping-
race as well, I might add, Kevin. Ronan Doherty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So maybe a good omen for you as well. Are both of our race numbers represented in this evening's race? As we look there, Finlay Melvin just right at the end of the shot, going off wide. He's dropped now down to 24th and has actually gone back to the pits, Finlay. So I think he's out of this evening's race. As we have 13 minutes left, there's Ryan Ware going. Being sent down the inside by Rory O'Shea, as they say. Great work there by Rory in the 20 High Prix car, getting that move done. So Ronan Doherty leading from Jordan Kelly, only 0.3 of a seconds between them. You can see exactly with your own two eyes the closing gap between Peter McCann and Sean McGoldrick. Now McCann doing a superb job, of course, finished 8th in the second race, which gave him pole position for the first race, and he's still in 3rd position. So Peter doing a superb job, the man from County Mayo, being chased all the while by Sean McGoldrick, and it looks like McGoldrick is going to make the move done here in the official Aston Martin livery. He was unfortunately involved in some instance earlier on, but super stuff. Kieran says, good number to race with, Evan. I'd race with the same. I don't know what the love for 12 is. 12 just seems like an odd number to pluck out of thin air. I'd love to know where the 12 comes from.
Yeah, I've always raced with it, but I haven't seen a lot of people race with 12. I know Felipe Nasser used to race with 12 in Formula 1 for his brief stint. And clearly me and Kieran have good taste with the number 12. And so does Ronan Doherty, of course. But speaking of Ronan, is under a little bit of pressure here from Jordan Kelly in the number 5. Raced by Nigel Mansell and Sebastian Vettel in Formula 1, both for, well, no, one was for Ferrari, one was red number 5 in a Williams, peculiarly enough. This is Adam Dowling and Alex Denning continuing their fight. Conor Melia looking to get involved as well. That's actually Adam Dowling getting ahead of Alex Denning for the second time here this evening. So Adam Dowling getting more up to speed with these GT4s, proving he's good pace. We've seen him in and amongst the top 10 multiple times here this evening. They'll continue 2 wide down towards turn number 2. Denning on the inside once again, and he's going to get the job done on Adam Dowling. But Dowling will have the slipstream down towards the hairpin.
Yeah, this is a nice little battle. Adam is a supremely quick driver in that little Renault he has that he went around Mondello. And I say little, not by certainly its power, but only by its stature. Yeah, really, a really sound guy as well, Adam. Just a really sound guy. Just a really nice man. And he is putting pressure on Alex Denning. So a good A-on-A battle. If you were wondering, not that anybody asked, but the reason I run 84 is not anything to do with George Orwell or, Animal Farm or, well actually, Animal Farm is a separate novel, but on the same idea. It's actually the 1984 was the founding year of Cork City Football Club. So that is why I run the number 84. In case anybody wanted to know, just so I'd let people know in case people were wondering whether I had some sort of Orwellian tendencies, and that's why I was running 84, or I thought the government was spying on me. No, it's just Cork City. It's just football. Simple as.
You could have run with 19 as well, technically.
Yeah, well, lots of clubs are founded in 19. I think it's the 84 that makes it. Kieran says 12 is my lucky number. Born minutes before Friday the 13th. So there you go. So basically, Kieran, what you're saying is you were born, and then there was lots of misfortune in the world. So just put that out there. Seems to be what the case is.
A reminder that Kieran will be replacing Kevin in a few weeks and will have an opportunity to stand back at him.
I'm not bitter about it at all, in any way, shape, or form. Jason Smith now going side by side here with not Tony Stackett, and Farrell, another RTA regular, and then we have the man to thank for our brand spanking RTAvirtualmotorsport.com website. So do head over there at the end of the race to check out what's happening. Evan Walsh, the man from Clonmel, sending it down the inside, and great work from Evan here to overtake Rob Parks into 70. They came together, of course, in the last race, but very clean this time around. Ooh. The same cannot be said for that move by Dylan McClements on Rory O'Shea, sending him spinning around. That sends Ryan Ware spinning around. and I suspect Dylan will certainly be called in for a telling off. Is that detention, no homework? What's the appropriate punishment here for 13-year-old Dylan McClemens?
No fortnight for a week or something. I don't know. Something like
Yeah,
that.
I think so.
I don't know what the kids play these days.
That seems
iRacing,
appropriate enough.
seemingly, but
Yeah, it
that's a
seems
different
like
story.
it with the way Dylan is, but
Yeah. But disappointing
Yeah.
for Dylan and disappointing for Ryan Ware and Rory O'Shea, who were all having pretty good races. Well, Dylan still technically is in fifth, but he might be handed a little bit of a penalty. Battle for the race lead still rages on. We've seen Doherty and Kelly fight it out before in RTA in the last couple of seasons here on Gantry TV. We saw them last season in Okayama having a bit of a scrap, and we're going to see it again here at the Hochenheim ring. We've seen these two work together before in the past, but early this season, I wonder, will they keep working together, or will it be a little bit more heated? As looking back here briefly, Rory O'Shea and Ryan Ware will be able to scrap out their differences as they battle for 11th.
Yeah, really, both of those just innocent bystanders in a move that really was never on. We talked about Dylan being brave on the brakes, but I suppose there's a very, very fine line between bravery, not stupidity. I think that's too much to say, but certainly bravery and mistake. What would you say? Mistaking ism. That's definitely a word. Don't at me. So yeah, it's just a disappointing one for Dylan McClemens, who's been really fantastic tonight, and I really don't think that takes away from any of his earlier instance or his earlier running. Rory O'Shea certainly going down for a move down the inside of Ryan Ware, which means kind of the natural order will be restored there, because Rory was ahead of Ryan before that incident. A big shout out as well for Peter McCann in the 19 car. He started P1, and oftentimes you see cars that start P1 from being P8 kind of fall away back through the order, but Peter's very much holding his own. He has a lovely gap, 2.8 seconds ahead of Dylan McClemens, and we do only have maybe 6 minutes left of this race, which means we probably have maybe three or so more laps. So a great opportunity for Peter to make great running here at the Hochenheim ring. That Ronan Doherty, Jordan Kelly question is interesting. I think we obviously both had them on in the interview room previous to this race, and Ronan Jordan, should I say, was stressing about just keeping points. You know, you asked him, do you think he can slip up through the grid and get a race win? And he said, well, look, it's really just about kind of making as many points as I can. He's had so many points in the bag, so I would be surprised if Jordan really went in to try and overtake Ronan earlier on. I suspect they will work together. Will it be all every man for himself come the last lap? That remains to be seen, but I certainly don't think Jordan will be doing anything stupid and potentially jeopardizing what is already a superb night. And if he can even get second place here, I mean, that is an absolutely mega night for Jordan Kelly tonight.
Yes, absolutely, and it's also a mega night for Ronan Doherty. If he was able to win this race, as he said himself, an hour after picking up the GT4 car, it goes to show what he might possess, or what talent he might possess in these cars for the remainder of the season. Both them having very strong races as of now, as is Peter McCann. We said he was doing well in fourth. Well, that might become third sooner rather than later, because he's right on the back of Sean McGoldrick, piling on the pressure. Peter's had fantastic pace here this evening. There's been a lot of strong results from drivers who maybe wouldn't have had the strongest result last week. It's good to see the versatility maybe in the drivers from track to track, and it does keep the championship close. We're not going to complain about that in the slightest. Bit of a battle here for 13th. This is Dermot Toomey and Enda Farrell. Enda Farrell going to just try and stick a wheel up the inside here, as Toomey is now on the outside, soon to become inside, and oh, that was very close to contact, but Enda Farrell very, very good to hang around the outside. He's up to 13th.
Yeah, superb work from Enda in the 29 cars. We see now Tony Stack in the Milka car, my favourite branded car, I think, apart from our own Gantry TV branded cars, of course. Just have to put that in as a little disclaimer. Making that move, and now it looks like that Dermot could be overtaken again by Evan Walsh, who's all over him. So this could be a bad section for Dermot Toomey, because you look now, Evan is all over the back of him. Tipperary's finest, sponsored perhaps by Bulmers, not because they actually sponsor him, but perhaps due to the amount of Bulmers he consumes on a weekly basis. But Evan, great work there from him, and he's really made his way back up the grid, obviously battling with Rob Parks earlier on, and speaking of Rob Parks, as we look at this move, we're going to stick with this for the moment because it's Conor Melia and Alex Milchin going down towards the hairpin, and Alex has the inside, so you would expect to see him keep this one going. But it's as actually, is there damage on that car? I wonder. He's running quite slowly as Alex Milchin, and it looked just from looking at it that he could potentially have damage on the car. As Dave Maguire goes down the inside, and that is very tight. I don't think Dave Maguire was expecting Alex Milchin to be that slow, but I wonder, does Milchin have a problem here? Because he looks like he's running, or certainly through that hairpin, he certainly looked like he was running kind of almost in slow motion as he was being overtaken by Conor Melia. But let's have a quick look back at Rob Parks, because we just went
no.
Rob Parks. Oh no, he's back on. That's a pity,
Oh.
because it looks like Rob is having some sort of internet
Seizure.
issues or some sort of seizure. There he is. We were talking last week, and it's a bit of a pity because I kind of stayed with the other battle, and it probably would be better off staying where I was, because Jamal Gondor's all over the back of him now. But for a while there, we had the return of the sponsor v league owner battle. Last week we saw Rob Parks and Peter Duke from TH Jordan, our fantastic sponsor this season, going toe to toe in Brands Hatch. And just there, I had a quick look down my timing tables, and I saw the two of them swapping ends back and forth. Now, Rob obviously had an issue, which has allowed Peter and David Prunty to go ahead, but good to see Peter, and indeed very grateful to the sponsorship of TH Jordan right throughout the series alongside the Sim Consultants.
Yeah, I think it's fabulous seeing a sponsor race on the grid. It's great to have Peter. Imagine if they did that in Formula 1, and whoever owns Aramco or whatever just gets at the Ferrari for a race. That'd be fabulous. But great to have Peter here on
Not
the
Aramco.
grid.
Maybe other sponsors, but not Aramco. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
I couldn't think of another one off the top of my head. I'm very sorry, Kevin. It's been a long day. Evan Walsh is battling with Dermot Toomey and Tony Stack in the Milka car here, heading up towards the hairpin. As I think we might have one more lap after this one. I think we might have time for that, as there's a bit of a lunge there in the background as well. That is Dermot Toomey, who is diving up the inside. No, wasn't able to get the move done there. Evan Walsh stays ahead.
Yeah, Dermot almost so keen to avoid contact with Evan, he ended up causing himself contact by going right over the top of the curve instead of going through it. Just on the Aramco thing, I think there's enough sons of oil barons racing in some of the series at the moment who probably don't deserve to be there already without giving a sponsor entry to Aramco. It's like that time in, this is going to be a niche reference. I'll come back to it because I really don't think a lot of it. It's going to be a niche golf reference that people won't get about a sponsor that entered the tournament and ended up like 60 shots behind the leader. But we have a white flag, and that means we go round once more, for those of you who have never seen a motor race before. Peter McCann behind Sean McGoldrick. This has been an intriguing battle, Evan. Peter just not quite being able to put enough pressure to push Sean off. As we see now that Ronan Darty and Jordan Kelly battle, Jordan must have made a mistake, because Ronan is now 2 seconds down the road, and he will break the cycle of Jordan Kelly victories and will actually have quite a good evening himself with a third position in the last race, and indeed first tonight.
He will. Fabulous race this from Ronan Darty. Is Peter McCann going to try lungement down the inside? No. Just stays behind for the time being. 4th place points is still fantastic for Peter McCann. I think he's going to grab this by 2 hands and take it home with him, because it is an impressive result nonetheless. And,
Can I just comment as well on Peter McCann's unusual distraction tactics? Normally, we were talking about Alex earlier flashing the lights. Peter McCann seems to use the wipers. I don't know, is that an attempt to put Sean off, or is it just an attempt to make sure that he's focused himself? But I don't think I've ever seen a driver running their wipers whilst also trying to take part in a battle on a dry circuit. But fair play to Peter McCann.
He's too used to living in Ireland, really. It's probably just second nature to him. But ready for the final couple of corners, Ronan Darty is going to disallow Jordan Kelly to take a clean sweep for the evening. He will come home to take his first win of the new RTA season. The champ from last season is back round through the final corner. It's an impressive race from Ronan Darty. He wins by 1.8 seconds over Jordan Kelly, and then it'll be Sean McGoldrick who comes home narrowly ahead of Peter McCann in 4th. Dylan McLeod Clements will continue his strong evening in 5th. Then it'll be Alex Denning in 6th, an impressive fight back with Conor Melia in 7th. And Dave Maguire in 8th. Then it'll be Alexander Milchin in 9th, ahead of Alan Dowling in 10th position. Another great evening of racing, Kevin.
Yeah, superb evening. Now, there are asterisks next to some of those names. Dylan McClements,
true.
Alex Denning, Dave Maguire. So we'll have to see how that all works out in the stewards' room afterwards. Hopefully everyone will be present and correct in the instance room just to get a lowdown on when and why and how they were penalised for what they were penalised for. But a really superb evening. It was a real kind of thrills and spills, but more spills in Brands Hatch. Very much more thrills today. We had that superb three-way battle in the second heat. A good old ding-dong battle between Ronan Doherty and Jordan Kelly, with a nice little back and forth between Lawrence de Soswa and Rory O'Shea. We had a good battle as well between Dave Maguire involved in that one, Alex Denning. Peter McCann doing a superb job, himself and Sean McGoldrick giving us some good entertainment, and really right down through, all the way down through the timing sheets, even the likes of Peter Duke, our race sponsor, and Rob Parks and Evan Walsh getting involved in some superb battles as well. So yeah, really, really good stuff this evening at the Hochenheim Ring, and nice to go to, I suppose, a circuit that's a bit wider and encourages more overtaking, which is what we will expect next week when we go to Belgium.
Yeah, it was kind of a different sort of a circuit compared to last season. This season as well, we do a lot of the British tracks. It was nice to go to one of the European ones, a classic motorsport circuit here, the Hockenheim Ring, albeit if it's changed from the past. Provided us with some great racing, especially in heats. We saw a fantastic battle, but here are your final race results. It is Doherty, Kelly, McGoldrick, McClements, Denning, Melia, Maguire, Milchin, Dowling, Ware, Farrell, Stack, Walsh, Toomey, Moore, Hutchings, Gandor, and McCann, who I think has just dropped down there out of place. That might be just a telemetry issue. Then it's Rob Parks, Philip Upson, Stephen O'Keefe, Mark Ivory, Brian McManus, Wingfei Chan, Mohammed Osba, and then it is Aaron Dalton, Stephen Donnelly, and Rory O'Shea. Those results, of course, are pending a lot across the field. That's pending on stewards' verdicts. You can check out rtavirtualmotorsport.com for the updated ones. Then just quickly, the final few. It is Gary Corcoran, Sean McClemens, Dave Collier, Peter Duke, Simran Takir, Rich Murphy, David Prunty, John McDonald, Jason Smith, Finley Melvin, and Lawrence de Souza. But Kevin, I think it's time we speak to a few drivers for interviews again.
Yeah, we need to keep an eye on driver of the day as well as we go to do that. And reminder, I actually made a mistake. No, that never happens. I know you're seeing to your laptop. We're actually going to Monza next week, not Spa. So I have booked the wrong flights. I need to get back onto Ryanair and make sure that gets changed. In the meantime, let's have a chat with Rona Doherty, our race winner, because we only got a very small amount of time to talk to him last week. I was, or last race, should I say. Ronan, I was kind of finishing up. I'm going to pick up where I kind of finished off last time, because we were talking about the talent of Dylan McClements and
Yes.
Sean, and the three of you guys obviously running as cousins, very much up the front. Like, what kind of? First of all, congratulations on your race win, and then we will get to that in a second. Not that you've had plenty of them, so I'm sure you're happy to wait. With the team GTR going forward now, with the likes of Sean and Dylan, what kind of opportunities are we going to see them have perhaps in virtual racing or in real racing? Are they talking about maybe moving into real racing, or how is that going to work, particularly for Dylan at 13?
Yeah, well, Team DDR stands for Team Damien Doherty Racing. It's a team my father's run since the 90s in Formula Opel, Formula Ireland, Formula Ford, all sorts. And my uncle Niall, who is Sean Dillon's father, is a great tuner of gearbox 250 national car engines. So they've both got, we're both lucky in that we have fathers that work together and have expertise in rail racing. And look, if Sean and Dylan are going to take the step into the rail car, and I'm sure they will, I'm sure they're going to excel, because they show great potential in the sim. And the sim is a great tool as well to learn, especially if you've never raced a car before. So I'm not too sure on what their plans are over the next couple of years. Like, I know Dylan went down and done the junior mini scholarship, his first ever time in a race car, and he was fantastic. And of course he was the quickest there on the sim as well. And Sean is older, so I'd say you might see Sean on the car first. Mate, we're definitely going to get him run out in my V at some point this year. So yeah, that's sort of the opportunities moving forward for those lads and me as well.
Yeah, speaking of you and speaking of sim time, you've certainly used the winter to your advantage. You won the 1600s, which, to be honest, we're not overly that surprised by. You were obviously open wheeler with the V's. You're very used to that. But you said to us in after the last race, you only had an hour here. Like, at what point did you kind of realize, oh, I'm actually like, I didn't really need that much time to get into it? Was it kind of because you were talking about how important qualifying was, how close it is, but like to come away with a third and a first, having not done a huge amount of practice, is I think it probably is above even your expectations for this evening.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't really expect a win coming in tonight, but I think reverse grid. It was good that I was in front of Jordan. It's sort of difficult to pass, and I picked my spot around the outside for getting second and first, and got into the lead. And look, as the time was going on, I was getting quicker and quicker, just learning. It's always easy to get sort of close to pace in a car. It's just extracting the last 3/10 out of the lap, really, which is the difficulty. And by the end, I was sort of getting there. I was sort of matching Jordan. Well, I was matching Jordan apart from the hairpin. So it is it's a learning process whenever you have a lot of experience in the sim, and the track. Of course, this track Hockenheim, it does make learning a new car a lot easier as well.
Mm. And going back to, I suppose, your own real world stuff, it doesn't feel like it, I'll be totally honest. Anybody who lives in this country knows. But we are kind of approaching the start of the season. What's your ambition for the season? Are you sticking with the V's for 2024?
To be honest, I'd be lying to say if we really and the first round is at the weekend, and we're not going to be doing it. We've just been very busy. My father, preparing customer engines, and we haven't really had time to turn our focus to the V. So we're definitely going to take a drop round. We may do the V Championship when we finish building our new car, and I'd say I'll probably be out on the Formula Ford or something different at some point in the year as well. But yeah, like it's all sort of last minute, and I'm definitely going to miss the first round of the championship this weekend, I'd say.
That's a disappointing note to finish the interview on, but a great running tonight, Ronan. Thanks again for joining us as always. Really appreciate anybody who steps into the commentary box, and always love to speak to as many as make themselves available. So thanks again, Ronan. Team DDR driver, first place in the final heat, and a really good evening given the relative lack of experience. So best of luck next week.
Here, lads, keep our country.
Keep our country is right. That feels wrong coming out of my mouth. I'm too much of a city boy to see that. Sorry.
Cork, aren't you, Kevin?
Yeah, but like we do have cities outside the M50, believe it or not, Evan. Speaking of people who are going to keep a country, Jordan Kelly joins us as well. And Evan, I'll leave you take Jordan's hand through this interview.
Clarify. I meant Cork City, not Cork County, but that's a different point. Jordan, nice to speak to you again. You said you wanted points in that final race. You got points, second place, not too shabby.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was a good battle with Ronan, but I just didn't want to. I didn't want to get fighting to him too much because I was going to do it in the last two laps, but I ended up getting a slowdown in the second last lap. So I kind of put that plan out of the window. But no, it was good to get the points out first and a second. So I don't think I could ask for much better, for sure.
A bit of a different track this week. Of course, Hochenheim compared to Brands Hatch. Do you prefer these more wide, open tracks where you can get good racing, or would you be more of a fan of maybe Brands Hatch where it's a little bit more tight and complex?
I think I like both tracks the same, kind of, but you probably do get a wee bit closer racing around here because it's just so narrow around Brands, and so tricky to get alongside and stuff. So no, it was a good weekend or a good week on this track now. To be fair, I didn't mind it too much.
Look, I'm gonna steal Kevin's question a little bit from Ronan. We're getting to the start of real motorsport season, starting back up. You, of course, had a fantastic year in 2023, winning the British Formula Ford Series.
Yeah.
Any plans for yourself this season out in real life?
I'm just gonna be racing Fords up in Kirkuson now this year. Nice wee home track. So No, it's so the season starts off on Saturday, so testing on Thursday. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, keep it one piece.
Well, Jordan, thank you very much for joining us back here. We greatly appreciate it, and congratulations on what was a fabulous evening for you.
Thanks, Evan.
And Kevin, I do believe we have the privilege of one more interview this evening. I believe we're going to hear from Sean McGoldrick as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited to speak to Sean McGoldrick. You say, Sean, in your bio that you're getting too old. I can say this because we're after the watershed. You say you're getting too old for this shit. Do you still feel like that after tonight's race?
Yeah, yeah, maybe I'm getting too old to win, but I can still run in the midfield most of the time.
Well, you had a nice little battle there, Peter McCann. Peter obviously starting off in the lead and dropping back, but he put you under pressure a bit over the course of that final race. Did well to hold on to the podium spot.
Oh yeah, he did. Well, when I got past him, I was able to pull a little gap, but then I made a mistake, and I was keeping up with the two cars in front. I had the same gap to them for 3 or 4 laps, and then it just fell off a cliff. I don't know if it was the pressure of Peter behind, or if the tires went, or what it was, but yeah, it was a great battle with him. You can really trust Peter and have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I certainly trust him, on a racetrack. I don't know if I'd necessarily trust him on a live radio station, but that's a different story for a different day. You obviously very quick in the Porsche Cups, won the RTA Championship in that. What do you make of the GT4s? And I suppose do they kind of play to your strengths more than the open wheel stuff? Would you say?
Uh, yeah, it probably does. I enjoy driving the open wheel stuff, and I feel like I drive it better, but the lap time doesn't come. Or, um, yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It's a really nicely balanced little car. I'm still getting used to driving with the ABS and the traction control, and figuring out whether to get into the ABS or stay out of the ABS and things like that. I think a lot of us are still experimenting.
And obviously, it's a car that you don't get to run very often, so a great opportunity to do it. Does this result change your kind of ambitions for the season, or what are you kind of hoping? Are we talking top 5, top 10? Do you have any targets set for this year?
Well, I missed the first round, so I have no drop round this time. So I think I'll be happy with a top 10. It's a very competitive field. Anything more than the top 10, I'd be very happy.
Well, certainly much higher than just a top 10 in the final race. Hopefully, you can use that to spur you on next week in Monza. Sean, thanks a million for speaking to us, and hopefully speak to you very soon the next time you're stepping on the podium.
All right, thank you.
Cool. So we had the gambit there. We've had Sean, Jordan, and Ronan, and not only giving us some insight into their iRacing stuff, but certainly from Ronan's side of things, won't be there for the first week of the Formula V's, which is a bit disappointing, Evan.
Yeah, it's very disappointing, especially considering he had such a strong season last season. I have the privilege of being able to see the V's a good bit, see the ICC World Championship, and Ronan was always up there at the front whenever he was racing. Narrowly lost out on a Leinster Trophy. An engine went bang for him at the wrong time, and that was unfortunately that day for him. Sure, he's probably sick of me reminding him of that, but that's again a story of another day. But yeah, disappointing to not see Ronan in the V's in the first round. But as he said, he has plans still to race this season, and we of course still have the privilege of watching him every Tuesday here on RTA. But Kevin, our most important job of the evening, driver of the day.
Yeah, thinking about this, and really, it's between those two for me. And I think just with Jordan's kind of consistency throughout the evening, two first place finishes, a second place. I know a little bit of a mistake in Heat 3, which meant he couldn't continue that battle with Ronan Darty. But I think overall, for me anyway, my nomination would be Jordan Kelly. I don't know how you feel about that, Evan.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think Paul 2 wins in a second. You can't really, well, you can beat it theoretically, but that's a really impressive result for Jordan. I think it's a well-earned driver of the day for him, and yeah, I would agree with you there, Kevin.
So that about kind of wraps everything up, Evan, unless we have any other final business. We've had new drivers on the grid, hailing from all the way from Donegal to Kyrgyzstan, or Kyrgyzstan, should I say? But it's actually the man who is more familiar with Kirkstown than Kyrgyzstan, has the final say on this second round of the RTA GT4 Cup in association with TH Jordan. And that is Jordan Kelly, a man, another Jordan Kelly, with 2 race wins. Rona Doherty getting back into the championship with the podium and a race win as well. So it's more of the same as we saw in the Formula Ford 1600s, but expect Alex Denning, the likes of Alex Denning, and indeed Rob Moore to be back with a vengeance as we head down to Milano and the gorgeous track of Monza for the next round. But from all of us here at Gantry TV, from myself, Kevin Galvin, Evan Dalton, and indeed Roden Hedeman in the background, have a great week. Enjoy Sebring 12 hours if you're running in it. And until next time, Tuesday, 9 o'clock, Slongafol.